The fact that it is December tomorrow is only freaking me out slightly, which is a massive improvement because normally I have a full-on breakdown in these monthly videos. Time is passing by. That's just a fact. But we don't have to be miserable all of the time. We can have some happiness, and that is what these videos are about. We're going to talk books, and books makes me happy, and I hope it makes you happy too. This is my November wrap-up, the books that I read in November, duh. Oh, it's going to be one of those videos, isn't it? Where we talk about the books that I read this month, the ratings, quick-fire reviews, and I would love to hear what books you read in November as well, so make sure to leave your wrap-up in the comments so that we can keep this conversation going. Without further ado, let's get cracking. Let's talk books, November books. Also, if you haven't watched my previous videos, then you may not know this, but I am starting a book club in the new year. It's completely free to join. I'll be letting you know what book we're picking every single month, and I'll let you know when the live stream is for us to talk about it. But don't worry if you can't join the live stream, I will be uploading them all to YouTube as well, so you can join in on the discussion afterwards if the times and dates don't suit you. It's no problem, we are easy breezy lemon squeezy on this channel. But this is your public service announcement that we have picked the first book for January. And I thought that I'd announce it now so that we can have time to read it basically before the January live stream. This is a book that I've seen talked about everywhere. I think it's very highly hyped at the moment, or the hype is growing for it. Before I announce this book, I just want to say, please don't worry if this book is not to your taste or if you didn't pick this book. We're doing this book club monthly, so you will definitely have more opportunity to have your book chosen as the book of the month. So, drum rolls please, ladies, gentlemen, and whatever else you want to be. The first book that we are going to be reading for January 2025 is The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. I've just realised it's got a quote by George R.R. Martin on the front, so that's a very good sign. I do have the trilogy here. We are not going to be reading all of them for January. That is unrealistic. Just the first one. I'm going to go into it pretty blind. I don't even really know what it's about. But it was recommended for the first book for January 2025 in the book club. I've heard lots of other people just talking about this online. So this is the book that we have chosen for January. So you've got between now and the end of January to read this book if you want to get involved in the book club. Keep your eyes peeled in my videos and on my YouTube channel because I will be putting up a community post to let you know when the first live stream is. How exciting! I can't wait to talk to you about this book. I'm so excited. And please submit your suggestions and recommendations for the February book club as well. Thanks for listening to this broadcast. Happy reading! So off the back of that, The Lies of Loch Lamora will definitely be in my January wrap-up, so that'll be an exciting one. So let's talk stats. So in November, I read a total of 3.5 books. That's actually disappointing for me. When you look at my October wrap-up and I read at least 5? I definitely read a lot more books in October than I have November. I'm actually a little bit saddened by that. Somebody commented on one of my previous videos saying that they don't understand how I can read so many books. The thing is that it really does fluctuate, and November is a perfect example of that. Some months, all I will do is read. Some months, life gets in the way and I can't read as much as I want. And that's what happened in November. It was so busy and I wanted to read. I had books on the brain all the time, but it's not about the quantity of books, it's about the quality. And there is a 5-star read in this video. I can't believe it. I've had 2 months in a row where there's been a 5-star read. That's incredible. Like, that's actually mind-blowing. I don't rate books that highly. This has just been naturally a very good reading year. So I'm going to talk about these books in chronological order for the order that I read them in. Starting off with the 5-star read because this was the first book that I read in November. This is Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. I was so excited to read this book and it fulfilled all of my expectations. I absolutely loved everything about this. It was the perfect book. The only thing that I didn't realise before reading it is that I wish I'd read it in October because it's set in the month of October and there's a massive build up to Halloween and it's very autumnal and it's very, you know, like pumpkins and coziness and autumn leaves, and I just feel like in November I was in Christmas mode, but this is definitely a Halloween appropriate book. That's the only thing, but it's not a big thing. My mistake, you know. So this is a fantasy book. What would this even be about? Do you know what? And this may be quite a contradictory opinion. It kind of felt to me a little bit like a female version of Harry Potter. And the only thing that makes it female is because the lead character is female. Everything else, including the magical elements, felt very much consistent with Harry Potter. I feel like there's been a lot of inspo taken from Harry Potter when writing this book. But it also felt like an adult's book. It doesn't feel like it's targeted towards a younger audience. I felt like I was the age demographic that this book was targeted towards. One of the things that I loved the most about this book is the writing style. This is a very talented author, and actually I think this is her first novel. I could be wrong, but I'm so sure that she's a content creator, not an author, but I mean now she is. And she's just done brilliantly. Like, this is such a brilliantly written book. There's a perfect amount of description alongside the dialogue. There's humour and witty sarcasm in it that actually made me laugh. There was a specific part of the book where it was talking about past witches and warlocks that have died through making stupid magical mistakes, but it was just so funny. I love the use of magic in this book. So we're not introduced to it gradually. When you start reading the book, you are thrown into the magical elements because the main character has been a witch all her life, but she came into her magical abilities when she was 15. And so the premise of the book is about how she is approaching her 30th birthday, and when a witch turns 30, they have to enter almost like this trial by the witch's coven that allows them to prove that they are worthy of that magic. So they have to do different challenges, different tasks in order for the coven to allow them to keep their magic, because there's only a limited amount of magic in this universe. And so they put people through these trials to make sure that they are worthy of having a part of that magic. There were some plot twists in this. There's some characters that you think are nice that turn out to be evil, and vice versa. Characters that you think are evil that turn out to be nice. There's so many funny chapters. There's also some deeper underlying meanings as well. I really like a lot of the characters in this book. Like, there are so many characters that I really, really like. And in particular, I loved reading from the main character's perspective. She's great. What is her name? I've forgotten her name. Belladonna Blackthorn. It's cozy as well because she works in a bookshop and she has to hide her magic from other people, so she's integrated into a very human world, and even her best friend doesn't know that she has magic. So it's about that difficulty of trying to keep her magic hidden whilst also involving herself in these trials and completing these challenges that the coven have set her. And there's also a teensy tiny little bit of love and like romance in it, but like the smallest fraction. And to be honest, I like the way the connection between those two people builds up. It's very slow paced, like a slow burn, but I feel like that's important. And then right at the end of the book is when you start to see that flourish. This had everything that I wanted in it. It was cozy, it was deep, it was tense, it was extremely well paced. It built this incredible world. And I think ultimately, the part I like the most is that it just made sense. I can totally see this happening in real life. It felt very realistic. I can totally imagine that this is how witches, warlocks, and wizards would be involved in our world. So overall, it's a 5-star read for me. I just absolutely loved it. I do believe that there is a second one coming out at some point, hopefully next year, so I don't have to wait too long. But I loved it, and I can't wait to hear more about Belladonna's story. Also, I have the beautiful Waterstones edition with the sprayed edges. It's the most stunning book I've ever had. I love the front cover, I love the colours in it, and I feel like this will be a reread for next autumn. So that was the first book of November, off to a strong start. The second book continued that strength because we have an absolutely incredible book that I read next. I've lost my copy of it. I'm looking around this room because I'm assuming it's in here. But where did I put it? I literally finished it like not even 2 weeks ago and I've lost it. So that's fun. So this is Robin Hobb by Assassin's Apprentice. Nope, wrong way around. This is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I'm so happy that I started my Robin Hobb journey because what a book. So emotional. Honestly, there was so many emotions. I did do a full review of this book on my YouTube channel, so I will leave that in the description box for you to hear more thoughts about it, but I will just give a brief overview of my general thoughts and feelings in this video. Why not? That's what a wrap up is for. This book is highly recommended. Robin Hobb is highly recommended. So I've officially started my journey with Fitz, and he is just the most likeable character. Hearing everything from Fitz's perspective is so enjoyable to read. He is great. He is a very down-to-earth, likeable person, just a great guy. But so much bad stuff happens to him, and this book is a true testament to that. Like, I am scared to read the next few books because I've heard that Fitz has some very bad luck in store for him. And as if he didn't already have his fair share of bad luck in this first book. Oh, I didn't mention, this is the first one in the Farseer trilogy. And we are following Fitz and his use of the magical ability that he has called the Wit, which allows him to essentially embody animals. Like, he has these really tight bonds with animals, can communicate with them, can think and feel with them, and he is also training to be an assassin at the same time. So that is basically what the premise of this story is. There is so much to it though. It's so much more than that. It was just incredible. One thing that I didn't mention as well in my review for it, which I probably should have done, but I'm mentioning it here, is the intrigue behind the character of the Fool. So this is a character where I was umming and ahhing throughout the whole book as to whether or not to trust him, and I still don't know whether or not I trust him. This is one thing that I think Robin Hobb has done extremely well in Assassin's Apprentice, is adding so much mystery to all of these characters. There's so much mystery behind the Fool. Chade, what a mysterious character. We know like nothing about him, but he was in the majority of this book. I just feel like there is so much more to learn, and I'm so excited to, but I'm also not emotionally prepared to. There was so much heartbreak in this book as well. I did mention in my review that I cried numerous times when reading this book. That's true. I ain't a wuss, okay? I don't have a whole lot of confidence, but I am confident in the fact that I am not a wuss. But Robin Hobb brought me down to tears. And there's nothing wrong with being a wuss and crying all the time, but it's just not normal for a book to do that to me, and Robin Hobb managed it. She broke down my walls. She opened up the floodgates, big time. I would also say if you like animals, particularly dogs, just go careful when reading this book. It's it's hard. What an incredible book though. So happy I started reading this. And I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. It was brilliant. I think the only thing that stopped it from being a 5 stars was that it was just a bit slow paced at the start. I've heard that that is very consistent amongst a lot of Robin Hobb books, is that it's very slow at the start and then bam, she hits you with all the action in like the last 50 pages. And that's exactly what happened in Assassin's Apprentice. There was so much tension in that last part that I couldn't keep up. I didn't even know where to process it all. But then the first half of it was more just following Fitz's life, which I enjoyed, but it was a little bit slow. Little bit. But it's not a deal breaker. This book is absolutely incredible, and I enjoyed watching Fitz just live his day-to-day life, to be honest. So another incredible read for November. It started off strong, and then it started to go downhill. So in the middle of November, I started to move on to Christmas books, because it's just something I like to do. I do like to read seasonally, and Christmas books are perfect to read at Christmas time, duh. So after I'd read the amazing books of Rewitched and Assassin's Apprentice, I then picked up The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I'd read a Jenny Colgan book in the past. It wasn't a Christmas one, it was just like a rom-com, and it was great. I'd rated that one a 4 stars out of 5. That one was called The Good, the Bad and the Dumped. I loved it. This book, however, I don't know what it was, but something was missing. So let me process my thoughts. If you want Christmas vibes, this is perfect. There was so much beautiful description about Christmassy things. Like, there was a chapter describing the Edinburgh Christmas markets, the snow twinkling and falling down in the sky, like beautiful stuff. If you want Christmas vibes, it's great. The main character works in a bookshop with this cute little old man who owns it. There's some very wholesome stuff in this book, and those are the things that made it a 3 star for me. However, the writing was not good. I'm sorry, it was not great. It's almost as though the author would get tired towards the end of a chapter. So a chapter would start off really well, and then by the end of the chapter, the writing has changed, and it's as though there wasn't much thought put into it by the end. I don't know if she just got fatigued, writing fatigue, when she wrote it. I don't know. So for example, it would start off with a beautiful chapter about the snow falling from the sky, and the main character is going for a walk and she's cold, but it feels real Christmassy and there's Christmas lights everywhere. And then by the end of the chapter, it was just written terribly. I'm just being honest. Like, and I think as well, a lot of the dialogue did not make sense. Like, people would say things that you just wouldn't say in a conversation, and it did not flow. I also think that the plot lacked. It was interesting because it was kind of like there's two potential love interests, so it was fun trying to work out which one do we feel like she's gonna pick. But I also don't really feel like there was enough connection to either of them. It's almost like she met both of these people and then automatically she's in love with them both. And then when she picks the guy that she does end up picking, he also happens to be in love with her, but I'm like, well, how? You haven't even barely spoken. The love was lacking. I didn't feel connected. Like, I didn't believe the love between the main gal and the main guy. It was quite cute because there's some cute children in this, so the main character starts to grow closer to her nieces and her nephew, and that was quite cute. And there's also a good like sisterly bond in it as well. I liked the relationship between the two sisters. I didn't really like our main character, Carmen, so we are following Carmen's storyline. I just don't like her, and I don't like the way that she thinks about Edinburgh, the way that she thinks about her sister and her sister's life. She's clearly very, very jealous of her sister, who has this beautiful family, lives in a beautiful house, lives in a beautiful city, and the other sister, Carmen, doesn't have any of that, so I think she's very, very bitter. But in doing that, it made me really not like her at all. It just lacked for me. To be honest, I think realistically it's a 2.5 stars, but on my Goodreads app I can't put a 0.5, so I've rated it as a 3 on there. I think if it was written better and the love was more believable between these two characters, I think it would have been a lot better. It just wasn't particularly written well for the majority of it. There were like some paragraphs that were beautiful and then the rest of the chapter was not great. The dialogue was horrific. None of the dialogue was good at all. There's some likeable characters. The other sister, Sophia, I really, really liked. I liked the little old man, Mr. McCready. He was a good character. But overall, it just fell flat for me. So that's my review of the first Christmas book of the year, The Christmas Bookshop. Would I recommend it? If you're looking for something easy to read and it gives enough Christmas vibes, then sure, but please don't expect a lot from it. And then the final book of November, which is why I said I'd read 3.5 books, because I have not actually finished this one yet. This one is A Winter's Dream by Sophie Clare, so this one I imagine will take me through into December. I should finish this very, very soon, to be honest. So far, this book is already extremely well written. I actually really like this author's writing style. I don't think I've ever read anything by Sophie Clare before, but so far I would be inspired to read another one because I really like the writing style. It's written beautifully. The dialogue makes sense. The conversations all make sense. The descriptions really set the scene. You know, that we've got this beautiful little villagey town. We've got a cottage. It's cold. It's Christmassy. It's set in December. And the whole purpose of it is about this girl who's having a little bit of a midlife crisis. I think she's just turned 30. There's a theme of people turning 30 in this video. Maybe I'm having a crisis and that's why I'm reading all these books, to make me feel better. Other people are just as lost as I am. And she decides every single day of December to say yes to any opportunity. And so far that's what's happened. So she's just said yes to taking in a lodger in her house. And they're not really getting on too well. It's very awkward. She doesn't really know how to act. She doesn't know if she's supposed to be a good host. She doesn't know if she's supposed to leave him alone. He's a bit standoffish. He's not really the most comfortable or approachable of people. So it's just overall very awkward vibes. There's also some sad parts to it as well, because her best friend has been in a coma for the past 6 months. So she's obviously really saddened by that, and she keeps reminiscing on some good times that they'd have together. And so far that is pretty much all that has happened in the book, but I'm absolutely loving it. I'm getting Christmas vibes from it, which is what I want, but it's just written beautifully. And when you compare this book to the writing style of the previous book, the Jenny Colgan one, I am much preferring this author's writing style. So far, I'm impressed with this book. Like I said, I can't rate it yet because I've not finished it yet. And there's not been a whole lot that's happened in the plot, but so far the writing of it, I would say is a 4 star. So the only way that that would be reduced is if nothing really happened in the plot, or if the writing style started to not be great anymore, or if the dialogue didn't make sense. Or, because I'm assuming this is a romance at some point in it, if that romance wasn't very believable, then I would knock a star off. But so far, the writing, the way the author describes things, the way that the storyline is flowing and progressing, all of that to me so far is a 4 stars. I'm sorry if you subscribe to my channel for the Game of Thrones content and I've just talked about 2 Christmas books. But I think at the moment I'm really enjoying doing one Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire book video a week, and then one anything else book video a week. I'm doing 2 videos a week, so hopefully there will be something at least weekly that you will enjoy from me, and I can cater to the different audiences and the different types of book that you like to read. That is my November wrap up. A bit of a mix, probably not as positive as October's, but we did still have a 5-star read and a 4-star. And I started my Robin Hobb journey, which I can't believe I've done, and I'm so happy about it. So what did you read in November? I would love to hear your November wrap up as well, so make sure to leave me a comment and let me know. Don't forget as well about the book club, so you do have until the end of January to read The Lies of Loch Lamora if you want to get involved in that. Alternatively, if you have already read the book, then you can still join the live stream. Why not? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up to let me know. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy my content and you want to see more from me, then please subscribe because it's free and it means that you can see my videos a lot easier. I will see you next time, or rather you'll see me, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.